Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Well, it's all right, even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's all right.
Welcome back.
You gotta
Sorry, I have been all over the place today. You know what happened is, I don't know if I told you, you'd be proud of
as
me.
long as you got
I
something to
quit smoking cigarettes and nicotine. I'm now hit week 1 today. I'm still an ass, but the craving's gone away. But I think it's me. I was so confused last week. I was just like punch drunk. Like Tyson went like 14 rounds with me every day. So I like quadruple booked you. I am so sorry I did that. I am like just very sorry. So how's the book been since we talked a month ago?
Yeah. So no, we're really well. You two may not even know this because we really didn't kind of let it out that we hit so fast because we wanted to keep the momentum building. But we actually hit #1 international bestsellers in 7 hours.
That's what I thought, because you came on you didn't say it on the show, but you did fill me in that this was already achieved.
Fast. It was quick, and we didn't want to let the authors or anyone really know because we wanted to see how many other countries we could hit in that 48-hour time span.
That is so cool. How many countries have you reached?
Oh, goodness. For this particular book, we went #1 in 5 countries and top 100 in the 6th. We hit into 100 categories, which our publisher said was unheard of, and 41 of those were #1.
What do you attribute that to?
So we had amazing authors that really jumped in and networked together, and it's really a grassroots effort that we all just shared. I also, though, I know that it has something to do with the first one. We created a movement, and the women just really felt the power of it and the encouragement and motivation, and they saw another one coming out and jumped in.
We also are joined in studio by Dr. Jennifer Kapler, and we got the Stella Webb over there.
Yes.
So can I tell you a funny story?
Please.
I coach for the Alton Irish, or the Irish Soccer Club, and I have a team they're getting ready to go into high school and all that, but last year's my first year taking over, and I have a player named Stella. I kept calling her Stella Webb. I swear to God. I knew her last name wasn't Webb. It just kept rolling off the tongue.
How old is she?
I think middle school still. That's the middle school team.
That's the middle, because my grandson has a Stella in his class. So.
Oh, that'd be interesting. But I seriously, all summer, all soccer season was Stella Webb. Good job, terrible, just terrible. But as we're gearing up for Friday, this is really cool. You're at Rustic Roots this time?
We are. So Rustic Roots, this is going to be a little bit different. We are having authors from both books come together.
Cool.
It's really cool. Great networking event for everyone to kind of meet and greet, share stories with each other. It's open to the public from 6 to 8:30. I'm super excited. It's such a beautiful space.
That's so cool. Now, what are we going to be witnessing right when the doors open? Can you take us through a little bit of a walkthrough if we could?
Well, I see you two looking at me because they're like, well, you haven't even told us yet.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all learning. I love this. We're all learning together. Here we go.
Yes. So from 5 to 6 is going to be all authors and VIPs, and it's just a chance for some of the women to connect. I mean, we've all kind of talked to each other on Facebook and social media and things like that, but it's really a time to get face-to-face. Hear the stories behind the stories, and then just allow the public to come in. And I know there's a lot of people who are coming for autographs. They've already purchased the books or whatever, but they have certain stories that they've really related to. These two had amazing, powerful stories, and so I think that's what the readers are wanting to, come and connect with them. Just have the opportunity to, because I've gotten personal messages where people are like, wow, like this really hit. It has allowed me to kind of see some possibilities that I didn't know existed, and they're really coming to meet the author that kind of opened that door for them.
I got to ask you this, and Dr. Jennifer, Dr. Jennifer?
Dr. Jen is,
Dr. Jen. Well, Dr. Kapler, that's probably the right way to say it. Did you write in the first book as well?
No.
So take me through your time writing here in this second book. Was there some hang-ups along the way? Did you ever think, man, maybe I shouldn't be writing this right now? Or
No. So I got asked to be in the first book because I know Nina, and then through Nina I met Tara. And I was like, it's not time for me yet. It just wasn't time. I was still dealing with a lot of grief and a lot of issues. And so when the second book came out, they were like, hey, we're doing this. And I said, I'm on it. wrote my chapter, turned it in. I think I was like
first one, second one, something
so,
like that.
second, third person.
Wonderful.
Yeah, like,
seriously, yeah.
It was time.
Did you get a sense of a feeling of empowerment writing through it?
When you're writing your story, you get to see it from another perspective of, oh, you know what, this is what I'm doing. Oh, that's right. Okay, this is where I need to go. And it's like you're experiencing a different perspective of your own life when you're writing it.
Really interesting. And now, whenever you're writing, I got to ask you, did you have any of those thoughts of, man, why did I do it that way, or why didn't I do that? Is that part? Is it okay for me to? I don't want to throw you on the spot there.
No, not with this chapter. No.
Interesting.
I knew right off the bat what I was going to write about because I had just gotten a health scare and it like came out of the blue and sucker. Well, I can't really say it came out of the blue. I'd had warning for years, but it came and sucker punched me, and I knew that's exactly what I was going to write about because all of it led through my grief and healing and processing. And
very fascinating. Thank you for sharing. And then Stella, getting back over to this side of the studio desk, did you write? You wrote in the first book, didn't you?
No, I did not. I was asked to write in the first book too, but I was in the middle of doing a whole lot of stuff with Soul Sanctuary, so I needed to focus on that. And then Tara came and asked if I would be interested in doing the second book, and I was going to do it. My chapter is more. It's about. It kind of wrote itself. It's about my abusive childhood. When I grew up in this very abusive home, and my entire childhood, it was brutal. It was very brutal. And so I wrote about that. I wrote about how I spent years healing from that and to get to where I am today, right? Where now that, now I help others to heal from their wounds and from the inner wounds that we don't actually see.
That's why I think the book's so important. I mean, I really do. And kudos to you for having the strength to write through that, because that's, for both of you, those are very traumatic experiences. But, for some individual that's sitting out there, and maybe, it's a middle schooler or a high schooler that's, just kind of bored one day and maybe lost and needs something to, read. They read your story and maybe they're going through the same thing or something similar. And even if they're, to me, it's not even a gender specific thing. You can get empowerment from anyone's story. You can feel like you're going to get the answer from anyone's story if you connect to it. I think that's why it's so important, because knowing you, Stella, the time I have, and then, Dr. Kapler, I haven't known you as long, but just your time in studio, I would have never even thought about the baggage that, or the baggage that comes with that, or the experiences that you've been going through. And I think that's important for all of us to learn about it and know that, everyone has something that they fought through, but you still got to go through the day to day, and you still got to get through it too.
A lot of times when you find people who are out there helping other people, it's usually because they grew up in a certain way and they want to be the person that they needed when they were kids, right?
That's a great point.
And so, or at a different point in their life, right? And so allowing that story to come out, it actually felt very cleansing for me.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. I've actually written part of that, and I was a journalist. I was a columnist for years, and I wrote some of that for a column at one point. But going through and the way that I did and bringing it back around to the healing part and stuff, felt so very cleansing.
Wow.
Yeah. For me and for my family that had to experience it.
Wow. Now that's really interesting. So even from an external standpoint, there was a sense of healing there.
Yes, very much so.
Well, I agree, and it's funny because sometimes conversations will come up and where you're simply looking at your family and your children and letting them know, like, thank you for your patience, because when you were young, I was unhealed. And so we're just so differently showing up in spaces that, for me, like, I wish this had happened younger so that I would have shown up differently. Although I will say that I wouldn't have had the lessons that I did to put me in the place that I am now to appreciate it all and have brought all of this together. I am crazy passionate about this project because it does give a platform to allow these women to come together and share their stories, because that's when you said, like, what was it that kind of ignited and took this off. I think that for me and others, it's really coming together to heal at just a deeper level, because they're able to be like, wow, I'm not alone, or it's not just me, or I can see myself in this, and wow, they had a way out. And not only a way out, they're all #1 international best-selling authors at this point. And so it's really been an amazing journey.
Well, and for all the individuals that you've worked with as a coach, I got to ask you too, was there a point maybe a couple of years ago where, and I'm sure it hit you early on, where you're like, man, all these individuals have amazing stories. It's just there's a hang up that we got to work through. And once they break through it, there's going to be completely fields of gold and that beautiful horizon that's awaiting us. Did that have anything to do with the book too? Because you work with a lot of people that I'm sure are just a hang up away from achieving it all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, fear kills more dreams than anything. People, it's basically that when the pain point tips over that fear is when someone will take some action to do something, to make a change or whatever. And so a lot of the women that we approached over the last, year and a half with both these projects, not everyone said no out of fear. Some people had really legitimate things. It was not the right time. They had too much going on, whatever. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of women, even after we started, who backed out. We lost authors that were like, no, this isn't right. And it really was one of those things. And there was a few in this one that we almost lost that we kept in it. And they're so glad they did. And it simply was because the thought of, what will others think? What will they say? What will, my family doesn't know. No one at work, no, whatever. And I was like, does that change anything? We've all gotten so good at putting these facades up that you would never know kind of what we've gone through or how we've dealt with it or whatever. So this just really allows us to say, listen, you're not, we are just like you, and we've been there.
Well, and that's why I think Friday's going to be so cool, because, the first book, that was incredible. The second book's doing just such a great job, too. But to get everyone into that room that, obviously wants to be a part of it and all that good stuff for the public standpoint, but even just the authors of both books, to be in there, just think about all the growth that you could really have just going up and talking to some authors about some of their stories and asking those, but maybe behind the scenes questions if they're, feeling comfortable enough to talk about those things. I'm sure, is that going to be okay to
Oh, absolutely.
do?
That and definitely also networking. Take advantage of coming and utilize, this is a community outreach.
Cool.
And so that's the whole point, is that these women, we're all here to help each other grow in whatever area that means. With Stella with Soul Sanctuary, I have a very, very huge heart for what she does, because honestly, if we had more time, I would go in and tell you that, meeting her and her teaching me how to do self-guided meditations and slowing myself down enough to be able to get the thoughts together is how we really got here. And so all of us need, it's so important to put those pieces together. And Jennifer and I know each other through NLP. And so it really is important to put those pieces to the puzzle together of, we don't have to know it all. We get the opportunity to find the people who help fill in those gaps.
Yep.
Wow. I just don't, I'm honestly kind of speechless, because it's amazing, though, that there's all these unique tie-ins, from, whether it's community tie-ins, whether it's conversational tie-ins, or just different connections that you made through different programs. And what I think's great is that defines human life. We have all these connections that, sometimes I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but I'll look through my contact books just to see. And I'm like, man, I got every state covered. I got a couple of countries covered. Oh my goodness. I haven't talked. I met him at a Holiday Inn 20 days ago. Who knows? But the whole point I'm making here is the connections are deep. And the connections in this community go a lot further than just the 618. And I think that you three have a great gauge on that, because you've collaborated and contributed with artists from all over, or authors all over the country to empower more folks.
Yeah, we did, and that's the thing is, and we're gonna keep doing this, because there is such a need for just people to belong to an empowering community that is really just there to help them grow and to get out of their own way. I think that's probably the best way to put it.
Absolutely. And as we're going forward, what time on Friday?
So I want Friday is going to be at Rustic Roots in Wood River. Doors open to the public at 6 o'clock until 8:30. And I also want to plug that Jennifer and I are doing a book signing in Grafton.
At the
if you want to
Grafton
give
Visitor Center and Museum from 12 to 4 on Saturday, August 11th.
Sunday.
Sunday.
August 11th. Sunday.
Sunday.
I was like, wait a minute, Saturday, I'm going
And
to paint.
where was that? Where was that at again?
At the Grafton Visitor Center and Museum.
Really cool. Stella, anything going on down the pipeline that you want to fill us in on?
Well, Soul Sanctuary is doing what Soul Sanctuary does. You know, we've got a great group of facilitators now that do all kinds of fun stuff, astrology and Reiki and all kinds of stuff. So it's just doing what it always does.
I'm just proud of all of you in this room for doing this, because it's not easy to put yourself out there and especially share stories about yourself too. I mean, it's one thing to go out and do a Facebook Live and, hey, here's what we're doing today. But when you're sharing about yourself, and that's a little nerve-wracking. So seriously, thank you all for being brave enough to do it. And I can only imagine the amount of people you empowered and just made them feel a little bit more comfortable in their journeys. So once again, Friday at Rustic Roots, 6:30 to 8:30.
6 to 8:30.
God dang it. I knew I was going to do it. I do it every time. 6 to 8:30, where you can see Tara, you can see Stella, you can see Dr. Kaplan. And and you can see all the authors from both books. But you can still get it online, both of them at Amazon, correct?
You can. I would really prefer, if you know an actual author, get it directly from them.
Cool.
They will have, there will be books from the first and the second available at Rustic Roots. So if they want to, get them, they will be there.
That's really cool.
And if they can't make it there Friday, they can come to Grafton on Sunday, and both books will still be available because we're both selling the books.
How about that? Sunday, what time again?
12 to 4.
There you go. And we'll link everything on an article on RiverBender.com. But, I'm out of time. Sorry. I was just, it's the lack of, it's all the oxygen that was rushing back to my brain that threw me off. I'll see you back here for more of our daily show tomorrow. And remember to mark your calendars for 5 o'clock on Friday night for that Scotty McCreery pre-show. Until Thursday, just try your best, or Wednesday, try your best to stay out of jail.